Nick Dickelson with BBL News. A new development surrounding the 64-year-old book To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, which brought ideas of how racism is rampant in our country and the impact it leaves on communities. Her ideas help spread the word on why racism is a problem, and her works are still used today in classrooms around the world. It also helps make corruption in our nation's legal system a more well-known fact, and is helping us fix that problem to this day. We'll be back after these messages.
Tired of regular, boring water? Try diet water. It has none of the nutrients and other weird stuff from the original. Don't believe me yet?
I don't.
Then try it yourself. I'm Dick Nicholson from BBL News, and today we are going into To Kill a Mockingbird and how it's still relevant in modern day society. In the book, To Kill a Mockingbird, ideas like racism, discrimination, and prejudiced views are widely spread, and as well as how the justice system is corrupt. In the real world, racism and prejudice is still a problem. For example, in 2020, a 70-year-old black man named George Floyd was choked to death by a white police officer during an arrest. This shows how racism is still a problem and that people dying purely because of their skin color is still happening, like in the book. An example of the justice system being flawed is when 18-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse fatally shot 2 innocent people in Kenosha, and all charges were dropped after a 20-day trial. This example shows connections between Tom Robinson's case and Kyle Rittenhouse's case with a flawed and prejudiced and biased jury, and how the justice system can still be corrupt today, and how that the To Kill a Mockingbird book can teach us things that we may not know already. We will finish after I go to Nick Dickelson.
Hi, I'm Nick Dickelson, back with BBL News. We're going to get into some more evidence that To Kill a Mockingbird is still relevant in modern society from inside the book. Our first quote we have gives us a little understanding to the time period and how race is perceived in the world of early 1900s Macomb, Alabama. Quote, she was white and she tempted a Negro. She did something that in our society is unspeakable. She kissed a black man. And this comes from Lee, page 207. This quote shows how society couldn't stand the idea of a black man being in a relationship with a white woman. This quote directly relates to the ideas of the time. Still, this idea has evolved because of how widely accepted mixed race couples are today. I believe that the ideas in this book led to more awareness and how being different races didn't change what kind of person you are, contrary to what the people in this book believe. Love for a fellow human being transcends race, and I think this quote gives perspective on how this has changed in our society. This next quote gives us a little insight into how the justice system is broken and the racism epidemic of the time. Quote, and so a quiet, respectable, humble Negro had the unmitigated temerity to feel sorry for a white woman, and has had to put his word against 2 white peoples. Lee, page 208. The fact that it was unacceptable to put his word against a white woman's when he was being accused of a rape he clearly didn't commit truly shows how broken the justice system is. And never mind the racism in this quote. The fact that it was such a social crime of the time for a black person to feel bad for a white person who obviously has a rough life is insane. The fact that feeling compassion for another human being, even if they are a different race, being such a taboo at the time really shows the racial injustice of the time and how things like this book and the civil rights movement really helped to change that into our somewhat better world today. This quote I feel impacts how we live today because it helps us understand our terrible history and how we can work together to make it better.
I'm Dick Nicholson from BBL News, and we're going over the most important themes in To Kill a Mockingbird. The 2 most important themes in To Kill a Mockingbird are racism and prejudice and justice in the law. These are the most important themes that are shown today, including the George Floyd and Kyle Rittenhouse events that took place in modern society. For example, in chapter 25, it says Atticus had used every tool available to free men to save Tom Robinson, but in the secret courts of men's hearts, Atticus had no case. Tom was a dead man the minute Maella opened her mouth and screamed. Lee, page 245. This quote shows how racism and prejudice are main themes in To Kill a Mockingbird by showing us how the white people have so much control over the people of color. An example of the justice and the law is a main theme in the story To Kill a Mockingbird is in chapter 23 when Atticus says that one place where a man ought to get a square deal is in a courtroom. Be he any color of the rainbow, but people have a way of carrying their resentments right into a jury box. Lee, page 224. This quote clearly explains how justice and the law are main themes of To Kill a Mockingbird by showing how in the court of Maycomb, the people in the jury are unfair, which makes the justice system unfair. And a good amount of the book is in the Tom Robinson trial. This evidence shows how racism and prejudice and justice and the law are the two central themes in To Kill a Mockingbird. That was Dick Nicholson from BBL News signing off.
It's air, it's water. Stupid moat. I'm Nick Dickelson, and this is my partner,
Dick Nicholson.
And before we go today, we just want to thank our sponsor, Diet Water.
It's the best thing you'll ever not drink.
That's Nick Dickelson and
Dick Nicholson signing off.
for BBL News.